All right, it's 2 o'clock. I think we can go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Katie Monahan, and I'm a communications strategist here at the Ohio Arts Council. And I'm excited to welcome you to today's webinar, Expand Your Network, Advance Your Career, Resources for Performing Arts Professionals with OAPN. So I will introduce our presenters here in just a minute, but of course, there are just a few housekeeping items that we need to go over first. So first, everyone tuning in today is in listen-only mode, but if you have a question at any point, go ahead and drop it in the Q&A box there in your control panel. I'll be monitoring those questions throughout the webinar, and we'll, of course, leave plenty of time at the end to answer all of your questions as well. Next, live captioning is available for this webinar. You can access those captions by clicking on the closed captioning icon in your control panel and selecting Show Subtitle. And if you have audio issues or trouble connecting, we recommend refreshing your browser. And if that doesn't work, try logging off and logging back in. And please keep in mind that because we are presenting from our homes, there may be some variations in bandwidth or internet stability. So if the sound fluctuates or one of us freezes up, thank you in advance for bearing with us. I promise we'll keep on rolling through any technical difficulties. Hopefully we won't experience any. And finally, we are recording today's webinar, and a captioned recording will be available on our webinars page at oac.ohio.gov/webinars and on our YouTube channel early next week. Okay, that's it for housekeeping. There's just one more thing that I want to mention before we get going here, and that is the OAC's new Ohio Artist Registry. So this platform replaces our old Ohio Online Visual Artist Registry. Some of you may know that as UVAR. And the team has made some really exciting improvements to this. Most notably, they expanded registration to serve a greater population of creatives. So visual artists, musicians, choreographers, media artists, writers, this is really open to anyone now, which we're very excited about. They've also improved functionality, and they developed a little bit more robust security and privacy features for the end users. And of course, it's, as always, still a free platform. And the goal with this is that we hope that being listed in the registry provides you with new opportunities to share your work with clients, galleries, and patrons. So we encourage you to head over to the OAC's website to sign up. It's at oac.ohio.gov/resources/ohio-online-artist-registry. I realize that's a little bit cumbersome. I'll post the link in the chat here in just a minute as well. But basically, you can go on there, you can register, create a profile, add a little bit of information about yourself, upload work samples, link to your portfolio, and your social media accounts as well. So we highly encourage you to check it out and create a profile if you haven't yet already, and tell your friends. So with that, it's time to get down to business. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our friends from the Ohio Arts Professionals Network, also known as OAPN. They're here to tell us a little bit more about their organization and the resources they have to offer for performing artists and presenting organizations. So joining us today from OAPN are Executive Director Jessica Rosenblatt and Board President Gary Minyard. So Jessica, Gary, thank you so much for being here today. I will turn the floor over to you guys.
Well, thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate you inviting us to be on this webinar. So many thanks to the Ohio Arts Council for everything that you guys do. I'm Jessica Rosenblatt, the Executive Director of the Ohio Arts Professionals Network, and we have Gary Minyard over here, the board president. I thought he was going to introduce himself, but that's all right. I really appreciate you all for joining us today for today's webinar. We're here to basically give you a little background on who OAPN is, what we do in the arts and culture sector in Ohio, and how as an agent, an artist, a presenter, or an arts individual, you might be able to benefit from the tools that we offer and expand your network and advance your career, thus the name of the title. So we'll start off by introducing ourselves. Like I said before, my name is Jessica Rosenblatt. I'm the Executive Director of the Ohio Arts Professionals Network. I became the Executive Director in August of 2019. Before that, I served on the board, and I became the Secretary on the Executive Board over the course of a few years, starting in 2016. However, my journey with OAPN started in 2015 when I actually attended the conference in Sandusky, Ohio as an agent representing an artist that I manage. And before that, before I even got into the world of music, I met my now wife in 2008, performing at a little bar in Cleveland, Ohio. And together we formed a record label, and I took on the role of her manager and agent, where we booked shows, routed tours, promoted album releases, and basically did all the things in line of what you'd expect a two-woman business to do. In 2011, we incorporated our record label, Fighting Chance Records, and I've worked in PR marketing. I've worked with Kane Park, running their social media and marketing in the past. My degrees are in marketing and small business management, and I'm actually currently going back to school for a degree in nonprofit administration. The fun part, hobbies. I love to read. I could sit and read for days. Mostly read nonfiction. Yeah, love to cook. Not so much baking, but we cook all of our meals from scratch here at the house. Like to, I had limited selection of emojis here, but I love to go on hikes with my lab. We live right by the Metro Park, so we do that a lot. And I love wine. So wine and bourbon, but there was no picture for bourbon. So I'm gonna release this over to Gary to talk a little bit about himself.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everybody. My name is Gary. I am currently the board president of OAPN, and I come to, I'm also, as my job is, I'm the vice president of education and engagement at Dayton Live. And we are, like many of you who are either listening in now or will in the future, getting ready to reopen our venues. And so a lot of my work currently is looking at programming, looking at projects, looking at relationships with schools, districts, and lots of other constituents in our community to make sure that we are ready to go when we have permission to. So I'm excited for you to learn more about OAPN. I was introduced to OAPN by a past president of the board, Robert Baird, who he and I had a great conversation in the Columbus Art Museum. And I wound up serving on the board at that moment, not knowing that my journey either. So Jessica and I have shared that in not really knowing how our OAPN trajectories would cross like they have, but very excited to have her on board and excited about the direction of our organization. So my hobbies. I also like wine and bourbon with burgers. So there's that. By the way, bourbon can go in any container. I love to travel, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of that in the near future. I am very much into music and love the new resurgence in vinyl. And finally, I love my dog. We don't necessarily get to go hiking as much as she would like, but she certainly keeps us on our toes. And I was very happy to have her companionship as I recovered from my second Moderna shot for about 24 hours. She was a great snuggle partner on the couch. So that's me.
Fantastic. And don't forget, you foster dogs.
True, I do. Yes.
So good guy. All right, well, let's dive into who we are. One thing I actually did not put in this presentation was the fact that we were established in 1960. So for those of you just hearing about Ohio Arts Professionals Network, we've actually been around for quite a long time. The names have changed over the years. We started as Oracle, but we've always pretty much had the same mission. And you can find our history on our website at oapn.org to dive in and learn a little bit more. But to start, we are we are a nonprofit member-based organization, and our mission is to support and grow the touring arts and culture industry in Ohio. How do we do that? We do that by growing our membership of Ohio presenters. If you're unfamiliar with that term, we will actually touch on that next, so stay tuned. We have artists and agents from Ohio and across the globe, as well as arts professionals in various fields who just want to connect with our members. So our arts professionals can include anything from photographers, videographers, printing companies, basically anything in the realm that services those in the arts. At OAPN, we provide the space for folks to connect with other arts professionals. That is what we do. We gather the presenters, artists, and agents, and we basically put y'all in a room, whether it's virtually right now or at our conference. And the goal is to connect and network with one another to create substantial business relationships for the future. And we will touch on our conference in a little bit. So our organization is made up of presenters, artists, agents, and arts professionals. All right, membership types, and we're going to touch now on the terminology to make this a little more understanding. So presenters are the people who are booking the talent at an organization. So Gary, for example, is at Dayton Live, and he's considered a presenter, and he's going to be coming to a conference or connecting with other agents and artists within our organizations to book talent for his venue. Some of our presenters include, which is also a board member, David Mitchell from the Kent State Tuscaroras PAC. We have the Akron Civic Theater, Lakeside Chautauqua. Janet Herman Barlow is another board member, and she's at Stocker Arts. And we have Sandusky State Theater. So we've got an array of presenters, and our presenters are all from Ohio. That is our point. We are bringing outside talent and other folks from inside of Ohio to our Ohio presenters. At this current moment, our presenter membership extends to 24 Ohio counties, but it is our goal within the next 2 years, we prefer it to be a year, is to make sure that we have presenter membership from all 88 Ohio counties. Of course, if you know somebody, a presenter, somebody that is booking their talent who could connect with OAPN, who could benefit, please send me an email, info@oapn.org. We'd love to connect with them.
Jessica, another term that some folks out there who may not be familiar with the touring arts industry that may be a similar to a presenter would be a promoter. So there are lots of venues in the state of Ohio that we don't traditionally think of as performing arts center venues. There are a lot of one-room concert halls. There are bars with stages. There are really cool reuse facilities that have been converted from one thing to another, but any place where someone's gathering to perform, those folks who are organizing that or booking the talent, sometimes they're called promoters, we call them presenters. So if you feel like you fall in that category, don't be shy about reaching out to us, because you belong in OAPN as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. All right, our next membership type are artists. So our artist membership is diverse. It includes self-represented artists from in-state or out of state, and it extends all types of disciplines of art: singer-songwriters, bands, dance, comedy, magicians, you name it. We have an incredible selection of artists, and the majority of them are touring. They are either touring Ohio or touring the country, or even overseas as well. So artists connect with OAPN to basically find the presenters where they can book their shows at. And we also offer many things for artists. We offer online professional development. We offered our juried showcase at our conference, and a lot of networking and PD options. So some of our artists include, we have Acoustic Eidolon, which is an acoustic duo. We have Verb Ballets. We have Reggie, who's a singer-songwriter, guitarist. Mr. C, he does education, which is a huge thing in OAPN, which we'll touch on later. We have Leslie, who does a Harriet Tubman performance, and she's incredible. Rick Smith, who does magic. He's been on Ellen and the Shark Tank and all those fun things. And we also have a Scottish drag queen, which is a comedy performance. It's quite hilarious. Gary, anything else to add on artists I might be forgetting?
Yeah, I would like to add too that OAPN is a great organization for artists who feel like they want to get into touring, or they would like to take their art to audiences maybe outside their own spheres. So all sorts of things that you may not see here in pictures, like spoken word artists that are touring all over the state and country for that matter. Larger theatrical shows that have been commissioned or rehearsed in sitting down in a big theater here in the state of Ohio that may want to do some runouts to other venues to reach a larger audience. And so, you know, it is challenging, I think, for a visual artist to think that their artwork might, quote unquote, tour in that performing arts sense. But there are also ways for visual artists to get connected to other parts of our organization. There are many venues that hold exhibits throughout the year. So your artwork may be seen by thousands of patrons. We do that here in Dayton with several art shows that sit on our walls. And I'm very happy to say that one of them, before COVID, we do an annual art exhibit called Visual Voices in partnership with Ebony Galleries and Bing Davis here in Dayton. It was seen by over 45,000 people as it sat on our walls for 2 months. And that gave us an opportunity to make sure that Bing and those visual artists were able to connect to student groups, other patrons. We were holding events inside our venues. And so what does that have to do with OAPN? Well, you might be able to connect to a presenter or promoter so that your artwork may wind up being seen by a much bigger group of people, even though it may not be necessarily considered performing arts.
Right. Absolutely. And, you know, there's a lot of this happening right now where performing artists are connecting with the visual artists to have a collaboration in the show. So great. Thanks for pointing that out, Gary. All right. Our next membership type are agents. This is pretty self-explanatory, but an agent is basically a company or a person that is representing an artist or more artists in the performing arts field. We have quite a handful of agents connected with OAPN. Epic is out of New York, Ultra is out in New Jersey, Class X Entertainment is right here in Columbus, Ohio, Canis Majors in Vermont, Fighting Chance Records, sorry, that was a little self-plug there, based in Cleveland, Ohio, and Bicoastal Productions is based out in New York, but they have agents across the country. Anything else on agents before I go on, Gary?
Sure. The other thing that I will connect more dots for everyone out there is that we have an incredible group of very experienced agents who have been working in the touring arts industry for quite some time. And as you can imagine, the performing arts industry, because of COVID, was decimated. And many of the agencies have also had to evolve and adapt to the current environment. And so throughout the course of our online lives together, we have been able to connect in ways that we otherwise wouldn't have. So if you are an experienced agent, or maybe you've had to leave an agency, maybe you are thinking about self-representing yourself as an artist, so you become an artist agent, this is a great organization for you to be a part of, because you will find mentors and mentorship, best business practices, and a whole host of people who are willing to step up and help you through whatever question or challenge or interest you have. And it goes beyond just the idea of transaction, right? So that's really what the heart of OAPN is. And so even though we have these classifications, understand that many of them, many of us, I should say, who are members, may self-identify with more than just one. So you won't be alone, even if you don't identify as one of them. You will find an opportunity to become a part of this particular member group.
Absolutely. And, you know, just to even add on to that with the connection part, one thing that we've been able to do over the course of the year, starting in mid to late 2020, due to COVID, we started our Tuesday talks. And this has been an amazing way for agents and artists and presenters and other arts individuals to connect with one another. People have been able to create the friendships that they would normally create at an in-person conference, but we've been able to do it virtually. And it's forming these friendships and these relationships with one another, so that when it comes time to pitch your act to a presenter, it's just more friendly, it's less salesy. And then also we have a handful of agents that have hosted a Tuesday Talks, and it's just everybody's learning from one another and growing by being able to talk with one another. So we're kind of that space where that can happen. We'll just hit on our last membership type, and it's individuals. So basically this is really anybody that has a vested interest in the arts and who has maybe a business of their own, a consulting service, maybe it's a student or a supporter. Right now we have printing companies. I would love to see more photographers and videographers and even producers come into this realm. Yeah, because I think at our conference, this will be a really great space for our self-managed artists to connect with these larger groups of people, and even agents when they're coming through Ohio and they want a videographer for a show, or even with our presenters looking to host more of the virtual end of things. That's kind of where the individual memberships come into play. So some of our individual memberships include a printing and promotion company. Anna, she's an entertainment lawyer, and she also runs an indie sync house. So this is great for independent artists looking to get into that sync world of music. Print Muse is a promotional printing company, and Bandzoogle, we actually just had a webinar with them yesterday. They are an artist website. They are great for artists or agents, actually. And one of the nice benefits from our partners is we have promotional codes from some of the folks that we work with. Bandzoogle is one of them that they offer to our members who would like to work with them. So Gary, anything on individuals?
Well, I will only add, this is really good. In many ways, people out there may think like this is the catch-all, right? Like if I feel like I don't fit in one of these other categories, but really it's for you, if you are out there watching this particular webinar, to think about how, if you are a business, how you might extend your business into the performing arts, specifically even the touring arts here in Ohio. So support businesses, and we've got some B2B going on here with, promo codes and support systems that way. But if you are thinking about expanding your business practice into vendor relationships with performing arts centers or individual artists or bands or agencies even, OAPN really does provide a conduit for you in a way that you otherwise might not have ever known, that there are these groups of people who are looking to support both commercially and through nonprofit work, the touring arts industry here in the state. So if you are out there and you don't really know how you might fit into OAPN, just give Jessica a call or an email. We'll be happy to talk to you a little bit more about how we think that your particular business might fit into OAPN. And the great thing is that we're also very honest. We don't necessarily want you to become a member and it not be a benefit to you. So really looking for that kind of relationship with folks out there. So that's the only thing I would add.
Fantastic. You're great, Gary. All right, so going into kind of the biggest part of, actually, Gary, I'm just gonna there we go, we're good. Whoops. All right, so one of the biggest and best parts of OAPN and being a member is our conference. We host this usually every year. Our last conference was in 2018. We did at that point decide to go every 2 years. I think we're back to every single year, but of course COVID threw things off. So at one point this was, and I still believe this is our best way for folks to connect, but now that we've had these virtual opportunities, we've really created year-long opportunities for our folks to connect and network with one another. But what is our conference? So this is the place where our artist agents, arts professionals, and presenters basically all come together. They can take part in professional development classes. We have educational workshops. We have one-on-one meetings, networking, and most importantly is our juried showcases, which I will get to next. So our conference this year is fingers crossed. We are set to host in October of 2021 in Cleveland, Ohio, and still working out the details, but we are hoping to have some announcements for everybody in May of 2021. So I know I hopped over, but Gary, I know there's a lot more that we can talk about with the conference. Do you want to hop in and say anything before we go to our juried showcases?
Sure. So at the heart of the particular touring arts industry and the business itself is this kind of transactional relationship between presenters buying shows that they can put on their stages to then sell tickets to. And so in a way, if you look at that, it can be a very, it can involve zero relationships is what I'll say. It can be very cold, the business piece of our industry. And what this particular conference really looks to do is to remove the barriers between people who otherwise may just have an opportunity to email, or maybe there's been a phone call or two involved. We're really looking to do our October conference in person. We believe that the trajectory of the way that the health crisis is going, that we will be okay to have an in-person conference. We're talking with our members currently about some of the challenges there, but nothing really substitutes for that in-person get to know you moment. So that's what OAPN really does well, is it creates opportunities for you to truly start to create or continue relationships that you're building in our field so that you can do your job even better than before. You may see new art, you may see, maybe introduced to new agents, you may get some ideas from some other colleagues that are there, but truly that kind of networking that you can do in person in a way that's digestible and isn't really intimidating. We don't have thousands of people coming to our conference. These are more intimate conferences where we are all able to really celebrate the showcase artists that we see, really lift up everybody who's there, whether they're in the exhibit hall or whether they're presenting or doing PD for us. It really is something that we hold dear and that we are continually trying to improve, because this is the heart of the whole business, right? It's really the relationships. So that's what I would say about conference. So that's why it's so important to us, that we don't want to jump the gun about announcing, too much yet, but we're very excited about the prospect of getting together in October.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, even from a personal experience, which is why I care so deeply about OAPN and why I believe in it so much, is coming in on the agent side in 2015. I've attended multiple conferences in this arts world, and OAPN has by far been the most beneficial. We've made the most business connections and the longest lasting friendships. So I can't stress enough how amazing the conferences are. They are not overwhelming. People are not mean. If the presenters know that the artists and agents are there to pitch and sell. Of course, there are still appropriate ways to handle and conduct business when you're at a conference, but this is just the conference is a really great experience. I don't think anybody has ever left the conference feeling awful. It's a wonderful process, and you meet so many great people at the conference. So there's my little personal story for you there. Of course, if you have any questions about it as an agent or as an artist, please contact me, because I have a lot of stories and the connections that we've made from attending the conference. All right. The big question that we always get is, what is showcasing? What does showcasing mean when you're showcasing at a conference? So this is the one way that artists are able to basically get up and get in front of presenters and everybody else that comes to the conference to showcase what they do. To get to the jury showcase process, there are a few steps. First, the artists or agents have to submit their acts through I Want to Showcase, which is a fantastic platform. And they actually made a lot of updates this year as well. So I think it'll be a really nice, easy way for folks to submit. If you've used it in the past, you kind of understand what I mean, but they've really advanced the back end. So the artists will basically submit to Showcase. There are a lot of questions that you have to answer. Of course, side note with COVID, we understand some of those questions are not fully applicable this year, but the artist, once you submit, and there's a small fee, and this just helps us weed out folks who are serious about submitting to Showcase, you will come through the OAPN Showcase Committee process. We have a committee that handles basically watching and reviewing every single piece of material that comes in our way. And then we narrow it down, and we usually have about 24 to 25 artists that we select to showcase for a juried showcase. The artist will then come in and perform a 12 to 15 minute performance of their show, which is hard. And I think it definitely takes a little experience in talking to some other folks, but we did a Tuesday talks on showcasing that kind of dives deeper into this. So if you go to our website, oapn.org/Tuesday-talks, you will find a Showcasing 101 webinar with Janet Herman Barlow, who is our conference co-chair, as well as a board member and presenter at Stalker Arts, as well as Tammy Walkup, who is an agent out of Columbus with I just blanked on her agency. Tammy, you're going to kill me. Class X Entertainment. I'm so sorry. See, this is why Gary's great at improvising things. All right, so that will dive much deeper into the showcasing, because I know we have a little bit of a limited time on here, but it's a wonderful experience. And even if an artist is not selected to showcase, when I attended in 2015, we did not do that because we didn't understand how the world worked of OAPN and what this conference meant. We attended as a non-juried showcasing artist and just had an exhibit hall booth and connected with people, and we booked shows just based on making connections and introducing them to the artists that I had that I was pitching there. So Gary, before I move on.
Yeah, I would also like to say that this is competitive. And so it is not about the first 24 that submit that's in. Our last conference in 2018, we had 75 artists submit through I Want to Showcase. And our showcase committee went through all 75 of them, and through our rubrics that we use, we were able to have the top 24 showcase their acts on the Victoria stage here in Dayton. But the good thing is that we are committed to giving artists feedback. So many of the artists out there may, like to Jessica's point, may not have the experience of what it's like to showcase, or know how to submit it, or what kind of marketing or video materials they need. Again, we're happy to help and assist and connect you with some other people who can give you some guidance there. But we really do look for, very professional artists who presenters can book. That doesn't necessarily mean the most experienced or the slickest marketing materials. It is this delicate combination of the art and the submission. And so if you'd like some more guidance about that, we'll be happy to talk to you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gary. All right. So when we talk about becoming a member, how OAPN works is we have an annual membership that we, ask of our members. To attend our conference, submit to showcase, you have to be a member, but there's so many more things that we do throughout the year to make the member benefits, worth it. So first and foremost, you can connect. We host our Tuesday talks. We host a lot of other opportunities right now online and hopefully soon in person where you can connect with one another. Although I will say that we will definitely keep the virtual option because now we're able to connect with our friends in Utah and Vermont and Canada, and we don't even have to leave our home. So networking, that's the biggest piece that you get. We have a wonderful new website that we launched last year, right after COVID hit. So we have a very robust database on the back end. So once you're a member, you can log in, you can see who all of our presenters are, you can see other agents, other artists. And then we're going to be doing a lot more with the back end of that website as well for our members. Leveraging artist fees, it's another benefit from being a member. You can work with multiple presenters and work on a block booking, which basically means you're leveraging your artist fees to get more bookings throughout Ohio. This is a fun one because we are partnered with Ohio Arts Council. We have a nice relationship with them where they reach out to us. And when we have artists that are interested to be featured in their Featured Friday or Resilient Ohio, we have artists and presenters that are eligible for this. We send them to Ohio Arts Council and they feature them on their social medias. So it's great. Also, the promo codes, we work with multiple companies, and we always try to leverage everything and offer benefits to our members in that realm. Presenters join OAPN so they can book their season. They come to OAPN, watch the jury showcases, and pick and choose what will work for their season. And the artists join to perform venues. And I like to say, when it comes to artists, if you are the artist performing the bar and you are looking to get out of that, this is the space for you. This is where you can come in. If you're not ready to submit to showcase or even take the stage in the showcase, you can come and meet the other artists. And I will say from personal experience, the artist that I manage, when we first came in, she saw the kind of talent that was performing on the stages for the juried showcases, and it really made her work harder. It got our marketing material better. It made her stage show better. And, you're around professionals doing the job. They might not be the most famous people, but these are the people that are touring, making money, and doing this for a living. So that is what we do. Before I move on, Gary.
That's a pretty good list.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we get to, hopefully some of these members are actually on this webinar. Here's some of our quotes, and we do this if you go to our Facebook page, and if you are already familiar with OAPN and you'd like to drop us a little review, we will make these and put these out on our social media. So Russian duo, Oleg and Terry, are two fantastic people. I actually, as an agent, shared a booth right next to Oleg in 2016. These are fantastic musicians. And one of their quotes is basically how they connected with, the first thing they did was connect with OAPN. And maybe Terry will comment on the YouTube comments on how long she's been a member, but since 2007. So people love them, our presenters love them. They have a niche market, and they're just world-class artists. Tammy Walkup, there she is, Class X Entertainment. So she is an artist as well. On top of being an agent, she's a fantastic singer. But her agency has been part of OAPN for over 20 years, and she's also a board member. And when we talk, the best thing that she finds is she's always finding artists through this. And this is also great for artists who aren't currently with an agency. This is a great place to meet other agents that would be more in your wheelhouse to connect with, and hopefully get on their roster. And then Peg, actually Peg is somebody I met in 2016 at the conference, and we have been friends ever since. But as a presenter, she came in not really understanding the world of OAPN. And now she comes in to our conference and she attends our webinars and she connects with artists, and she has brought a handful, quite a lot of our OAPN artists to her stages. So that's our quotes. We have many more quotes, but just to give you a little idea of who's connected with us. Small little overview of, again, who we are and what we do, but we are the only Ohio arts organization dedicated to connecting artists, agents, presenters, and fellow arts professionals in a realm where they can conduct business and grow meaningful business relationships. Our core values stem directly from our members, who enhance communities through the arts, gain valuable best business practices through educational opportunities, connect with a diverse network of arts professionals, advocate for arts and culture industry in Ohio, and attend our conference. That's all I have. Gary, do you want to add anything?
Just a quick anecdote about Peg. So Peg has been joining our Tuesday Talks ever since we started them. And she was one of the first venues to try to do live shows during COVID based on the state health mandates and the restrictions there. And even though she may not know this, it was incredibly informative about hearing about how they planned that, how it went. And, you know, that made me start thinking about how we're going to plan forward. You know, how are we going to reopen? How are we going to do this in a way that makes any sense? So even just sharing those stories with each other was incredibly valuable through the pandemic. So
awesome. Well, I hope this made sense for everybody. There's a lot to kind of touch on within the hour, and trying to keep it to a half hour, which we've definitely gone over. But Katie, are there any questions that we can answer?
Yeah, thanks guys. This was really great. You guys make a very good team. You got Jess with like the play-by-play, and Gary comes in with the color commentary. Like you got a good. This was really great information, super helpful to learn about. You mentioned your Tuesday talks. Can you talk a little bit more about the topics, maybe the types of PD that you offer to members?
Yeah, absolutely. So this idea kind of stemmed from our conference where we host professional development, which has ranged in the past anywhere from writing contracts to, gosh, I mean, we've covered a lot of topics that try to appeal to agents, artists, and presenters. Our Tuesday talks have pretty much been because of the comments that our membership has said that they wanted to learn more about. So we try to host enough for our artists to make it to have enough education in for them. So we had something on website building, we had showcasing 101. Gosh, we've had so many. if I could see my Tuesday Talks tab. Gary took on hosting a presenters only Tuesday Talks, which is kind of this little safe space where presenters can talk intimately about what they're doing when it comes to presenting with the health code, health rules happening. So we've had artists come on and talk about what they did successfully during COVID to try to inspire other agents to utilize that. And really when our members have something they want to learn or hear about, it's my job to go out and find those. And we've created so many relationships with other organizations like Form, which is a fantastic marketing firm based in Cleveland, Ohio, who works in the nonprofit realm, and bringing them in to give kind of some free advice on marketing, social media, and then as a way where our members can connect with them and sit with them in the future. So
I would also add that we also have looked at national and international perspectives through our Tuesday Talks. So I believe it was Dan from BMI that was on talking about music rights, because we were and still are in the midst of how do we take live performances and then broadcast them? And what does that mean for venues? It's a very different kind of experience for many of us. And having him come on and talk about what's going on nationally and internationally in the music rights industry was incredibly helpful. And we also did one on sync licensing. and those rights, and what is that, and does that impact anything someone may be doing as far as selling their show through a simulcast or a broadcast. And so we really are looking at industry-wide trends, not just things that are local. So we're really looking at casting those wide nets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Gary said, you can find all of these past webinars. We had these and kept them open to our members and non-members starting in August of 2020, and they are all on our website, oapn.org/Tuesday Talks. We just moved these over to a member benefit in April. It's just something where our members are really involved with the organization. We want to make sure that we are giving as much back to our members. So these are now just a member benefit. So when you tune in, you can see and watch, and then our members will have access to the recorded YouTube links on those.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and I posted the link to the Tuesday Talks that Jessica just talked about in the chat if anybody's looking for that. Again, if anyone has questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. Let's go back to the conference here for a minute, and fingers crossed that you guys can do this in person. I think we're all holding out hope for that. What advice would you get? Say somebody decides to become a member and they're going to their first OAPN conference. How should they approach the conference? What should they come into it? Can you give some advice on that?
I'd love to kick this off because I'm gonna give the advice of what I did in 2015, and I will say I got connected with OAPN because my wife and I at the time, we moved out to Portland, Oregon. We lost all of our connections, all of our work that we had built in Cleveland and the region, we were talking with a woman, Jerry Goldstein, who wrote a book called How to Be Your Own Booking Agent. And one of the things that she mentioned, she's like, when you move back to Ohio, you have to connect with OAPN. We're like, what is OAPN? So she's like, just look them up, attend their conference, just do it. So, we looked into it, and as an independent artist, there are fees involved with conferences, and it's a very scary concept to put money out to attend something that you have no idea what it is. So on our end, we just budgeted for it. We did it. I spent 3 nights in the hotel. We paid for registration. We got an exhibit hall booth, which I think is extremely useful. And then I made my way around. I signed up as a first timer, so I was able to connect and network. And my mentor was Erin from Kane Park. She's the general manager, and then became my boss as well. So that's what I would say. If you are new to it, budget for it, go to it, get a booth, because we made our money back that first year. We didn't lose any money by attending. We made it back with performances. And I will say a small note, as an artist, I think when you perform the smaller world, the bars and more local, you're used to kind of booking a couple months in advance. Something we learned by attending was we attended in October of 2015, and our show bookings didn't start until the next year. So you're going based on seasons for venues, which book about a year in advance. So we didn't see our return on investment for a good year. But once you get into the world, I think even as an artist, if you have any ability to teach, having an educational option is huge. A lot of these venues get additional support. They can put you in a school, they can put you in the college, and you can teach a workshop for hopefully an additional fee. And it's just a really good way to connect with the community. And it's just a very inspiring thing too for the kids if you're able to teach kids. So education is a great thing for artists as well. And on the agent side, I attended as the agent, speaking on kind of behalf of the artist. So I say just go full steam, just do it in your first year. And if you have any understanding of it, submit to Showcase as well, because we're here to help on the other side too. So Gary, on the presenter end.
Well, there is a part of me that is, and I still do this myself too, is that I want to go to soak up as much as I can. So whether that is I'm learning from people, or I'm meeting new people, or I'm attending a certain talk or a lecture or an event, Maybe I see an art form that I haven't seen in a long time, or there's so many ways to become more knowledgeable about the field without the pressures of the business side. So if you have the luxury of being able to attend the conference to learn more, if you are an agent or agent adjacent, or if you are presenter promoter, even you do one thing a year, it is worth your time to come, because there's so much to soak up. And that's what I'd say. You know, what Jessica said is very true. There are a lot of financial considerations when you're looking at attending a conference. But if you can overcome that, and not have the pressure of thinking, well, I've got to book 45 concerts or else, you know, it's really a great opportunity for you to look and meet and talk and do all the things that will help you gain more confidence in what you're doing, knowing that the people that are surrounding you are there to support what you're up to. You know, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Gary, can we give a little insight to where the conference will be? Since I think we pretty much have that nailed.
I think people should have to wait and go to our website.
Okay.
And, you know, wait for the email. But we kind of do know when it is, you know. So it's in mid-October, and we're trying to negotiate a day. So we're trying to make sure that we give people the correct dates. But it traditionally would be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or it might be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this year, depending on how it all shakes down. So it's early in the week, and we have a great partner in who is essentially going to be our host, and it looks like it's going to be a great time. And I'll say that we will be looking at how to combine the best parts of virtual conference that we have learned through our members, as well as our other organizational partners in other states, and how we make that a part of our conference. Mm-hmm. So if you can't attend in person, or you feel that for your own health and safety that you would rather not do that, we will still have an opportunity for you to connect. And so we want to make sure that people understand that.
Mm-hmm. Great.
That's great. That's exciting. I think we all look forward to hearing more about the big reveal here. Good luck with the planning. And with that, I think we're coming up on our time here today. So Gary, Jessica, thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. We appreciate you as well. We hope that everyone will join us next month for our webinar on Thursday, May 20th at 2 p.m. We'll have Lindsay Jones, owner of Blind Eye Restoration. She'll be here talking about understanding design and maintenance needs for public art. So that should be a really interesting one. You'll find more information about that on our website, oac.ohio.gov/webinars, coming up here in a week or so, I guess. So. With that, we are done for the day. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thanks, Ohio Arts Council.